College Manor began in July of 1952. It took over the buildings and grounds of Maryland College for Women, which began in 1853. In 1895, Gertrude Rausch from Baltimore was interested in this little school that offered an education for young ladies. She liked the approach, she liked the educational components, so she decided to buy the college and be the private owner of this college and continue with the kind of program that the Lutheran Church had set up. She kept up this educational endeavor until 1928, when things were getting financially shaky everywhere, and these two young men from Hopkins decided they wanted to buy the school, and they knew nothing about education, but they approached Mrs. Rausch, and she agreed to, however they had set up the financial arrangements to buy the school. The story goes that Mr. Moore, who is my father, and Mr. Black, who were his partner, got into a card game, and Mr. Black lost. So my father took over the school. Mr. Black became Black of Black & Decker. He didn't lose a thing.
He made himself provost of the college, and then he became president of the college.
He realized he had no educational administrative background, and so he hired a gentleman who lived in the village of Lutherville, who had many years of educational administration experience, and asked him to help him out, which Colonel Metzger did for 20 years.
My grandfather was entrusted with the students here, and the families from New York and other places would want to make sure that their daughters were well taken care of and that they were not going to date anybody of ill repute. So he would interview all the men who would come in to see the students, and he would interview them, and he would call up and he says, well, I think so-and-so would like to have a date with you today. What do you say? And they could either say, oh yes, I'll be right down, or oh, I'm sorry, I have the vapors.
My mother and father met when my mother came to Maryland College for Women as a student from Long Island. They were married in 1931, and she gave up being a student and gave up being an agitator to him.
Big scandal or such a wonderful thing to happen. He kept on saying that he said over time that he married her to keep her out of trouble, and knowing my grandmother, that had to have been true.
And someone did dare her to ride a horse up the front marble steps of the building and through the door and into the chapel. I wasn't there, I can't verify it, but she swears it happened.
He took care of the girls up until the early 1950s, when enrollment started to drop off for all women's schools at that particular point in time.
With the help of a doctor friend, they decided that the best approach would be to use the building for a home for senior citizens.
Back then, in the early 50s, families usually took care of their own. There were extended families, but that evolved into a time when the women started to work and the men were working, that there was no one to stay home and take care of grandma and grandpa or aunt or uncle. And so this was a good business idea to start College Manor.
A kind of place where they could come and set up their home with their furnishings, all their treasured belongings, even the staff that they loved to have when they were in a house, they could bring with them, and they've even brought animals. So it was really genuinely a home for the senior citizens. The transition was facilitated by the lady who had been housekeeper for the college. She did a yeoman's job in seeing that all the rooms that were upstairs that the students had could become resident rooms. She hired the help, she hired the painters, she hired the floor people, and she supervised 24 hours a day between the middle of May when the school closed and the 1st of July when we took in our first resident. I started work here in 1952 when starting with the brochure, and obviously I was in school at the same time. Actually spent a couple of winters living here because my parents were traveling at the time, and it was quite an experience to live here, get to know the nurses, get to see what their processes were for caring and for emergencies and so forth. It was a real eye-opener.
She did just about everything from the ground up, from putting together brochures to doing the books, working the switchboard, selling the rooms.
My father started easing out of the business in 1980. He had left everything as far as the administration to me. Before that, I guess he just wanted to check and be sure that I didn't have any problems that I needed him for. It was a very safe feeling to know that I had learned all of these things from him, and also from my experience with living here with the nursing staff.
And she's a wonderful example of what a woman can do to keep a business vibrant and successful over so many years.
It makes me feel very comfortable when my daughter came and joined us, and I just knew that she put her heart and soul into the business as I had.
I had the pleasure of giving out mail from the time I was about 6 years old, to working as a nursing assistant, to working activities, to being a part of the lives in all the different departments.
I was also very lucky that my son had come, and he's taking care of the buildings and grounds, and he knows them inside out, so I feel very comfortable having them both here.
She has given me and my brother a responsibility for keeping the business going, and we're doing our darndest to keep this going in a different kind of economy. My son is also involved in the business now. He works in the maintenance department. He's learning the jobs from the ground up, just as we have done. John did that, I've done that, and so we're trying our best to know this business as well as we possibly can to keep it going yet another generation.
I feel that we are a family, and we want to generate that family feeling to the residents that come.
It's just been a family affair for our family, but also I've gotten to know so many of the staff members and their families.
It is they who is the front face. When somebody walks in, they see the staff members. When they go on the floors to visit, they see the staff members. When they go in the rooms to see Granny or Mom or Pop or whatever, the employees are there to answer questions, and it's just been a wonderful relationship with the staffs and the families.
When you come in the door, you automatically feel that it's a home. It's very grand when you look at it, but then there's a warmth from the minute you walk in the door to Jackie saying hello to you when you walk in. And Jackie is just a wonderful receptionist who has the nickname of the bartender, because everyone comes to her and tells her, what's going on with them, and it's just a comfortable way to start your day when you walk in the door. To Cindy and Jessica, another family that's been here at College Manor for generations. Cindy's mother worked here, Cindy's aunts worked here. Families feel comfortable coming here so that they want to be with their loved ones who live here. So it encompasses the family affair even more. So I hope to keep that whole energy going.
Being here and not having to do all the things for mother or father or auntie or uncle or whomever, so that they can have a better relationship. And if they have a relationship like that, our relationship slips right in there hand in hand with the family.
It's a comfortable place, a family place.